She was just an elderly black woman, flying first class to see her granddaughter graduate. But when a flight attendant snatched her medication and threw it away, everything changed. What that flight attendant didn't know was that this woman's son was a powerful CEO, and he was about to do something no one saw coming. That he didn't yell. He didn't fight. But what he did grounded the entire flight. This is the story of how one act of disrespect led to national headlines and a reckoning. At 30,000 feet, it all started with a quiet morning at JFK International Airport. Terminal 4 was buzzing with the usual chatter. Families heading on vacation, business travelers tapping on laptops, and flight attendants preparing to board passengers onto Flight 728 bound for Los Angeles. Among the crowd was 68-year-old Ms. Dorothy Bennett, an elegant black woman with silver curls, a calm demeanor, and decades of strength etched into the lines of her face. Dorothy wasn't just any passenger. She was flying to LA to attend her granddaughter's graduation, a milestone she had been praying to witness. Her son, Malik Bennett, a former Air Force pilot and now the CEO of a rising aerospace tech firm, had booked her a first-class ticket. Wanting her journey to be as comfortable as possible, Dorothy always carried three things in her handbag: a framed photo of her late husband, a leather-bound Bible, and a zippered pouch containing her heart and blood pressure medication. She had suffered a minor heart attack 2 years ago and had been stable ever since, but only with strict adherence to her prescribed meds. As the boarding gate opened, passengers made their way to the aircraft. Dorothy greeted everyone with warmth, even complimenting a flight attendant on her neat bun. But the warmth she extended would not be returned. Her assigned seat was 2A, window, first class. Just as she settled down, placing her handbag carefully under the seat in front of her, a flight attendant named Jessica came around to assist passengers. Jessica was young, blonde, and had a reputation among the crew for being by the book. But with selective judgment, Jessica's eyes scanned Dorothy with a cold detachment. When she noticed Dorothy reaching into her handbag to retrieve her pill organizer, Jessica frowned. "Excuse me, ma'am. What is that?" she asked sharply. Dorothy looked up, surprised. "Just my medication, sweetheart. I need to take it before we take off." Jessica's tone hardened. FAA regulations prohibit loose medications in unmarked containers. Dorothy, a bit taken aback, replied gently, "I've traveled dozens of times, and I've never had an issue. These are prescribed meds. I can show you the prescription." But Jessica was already reaching for the pouch. "I'm sorry, but this can't be allowed on board like this." Before Dorothy could protest, Jessica snatched the pouch and walked away. Within moments, she returned, empty-handed. "I've disposed of it, ma'am." Safety protocol. The cabin around them fell silent. Dorothy blinked in disbelief. "You threw away my medication?" she asked, her voice trembling. Jessica nodded. "It's for everyone's safety." Dorothy's hands trembled as she clutched her chest, panic setting in. Her breathing grew shallow. A nearby passenger called out, "She doesn't look well." An off-duty nurse sitting in 3B jumped up to assist. "She needs her meds." "What did you throw away?" Jessica, now flustered, simply said, "It's not my fault she didn't bring them in the proper container." What Jessica didn't know, what no one knew yet, was that Dorothy's son, Malik, was still on the tarmac, just outside the jetway. Having escorted his mother to the gate, he received a frantic call from another first-class passenger who had witnessed the whole thing and recognized him from business news articles. "Malik, something's wrong with your mother. A flight attendant just threw away her meds. She's struggling to breathe." Within 2 minutes, Malik was storming up the jet bridge, flanked by airport security and an airline supervisor who had heard the commotion. The pilot, already in the cockpit, was asked to delay departure. When Malik entered the plane and saw his mother pale and trembling, his voice was calm, but it carried power. "I want a paramedic on this plane in the next 60 seconds. And I want the names of every crew member on duty right now." Jessica tried to explain herself again, but Malik cut her off. "You threw away a senior citizen's life-saving medicine without medical consultation or policy review. That's criminal negligence. My mother could have gone into cardiac arrest." The airline supervisor tried to defuse the situation. "Sir, we understand your frustration, but we need to get this flight moving." Malik turned toward the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the delay, But this flight will not be taking off until my mother is treated properly, and until this crew is held accountable. If you'd prefer to deplane, you'll be rebooked on another flight, and I'll personally cover your hotel costs for the night." Some passengers murmured support, others nodded. The paramedics arrived shortly after and stabilized Dorothy. They confirmed that without her meds, she could have suffered a severe heart event mid-air. Malik then did something no one expected. He filed an emergency injunction through his legal team, who were just one call away. Within the hour, the FAA grounded Flight 728 pending investigation, and the entire crew was suspended from duty. News spread fast that by the next morning, flight attendant throws away elderly woman's medication was trending across social media. Videos taken by passengers surfaced, clips of Jessica discarding the pouch, Dorothy gasping, and Malik demanding justice. The airline issued a public apology, but Malik wasn't done. He held a press conference on behalf of his mother. Calm, composed, but firm. He spoke about systemic bias, negligence in air travel, and the way elderly black passengers, especially women, are often dismissed or treated as less credible. That he didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He spoke with the quiet power of a man who had lost sleep over the thought of losing his mother on a plane he had personally booked for her comfort point 2 weeks later. The airline announced mandatory retraining for all cabin crew in passenger rights, medical emergencies, and cultural sensitivity. Jessica resigned before the investigation concluded. Dorothy, meanwhile, made a full recovery. Her granddaughter's graduation was postponed due to COVID-related delays, but when it finally happened, Dorothy walked up to that stage holding her granddaughter's hand. And Malik? He launched a new nonprofit, Safe Skies for Seniors, advocating for elderly passengers, especially from minority communities. The organization offers legal support, medical travel kits, and training programs for airlines worldwide. The woman, whose medicine was discarded, became a symbol of something much bigger. And her son, once just a name in the aerospace world, became a voice for thousands. Don't underestimate the quiet grace of an elder. And never forget, when you mess with someone's mother, you may just ground the entire flight.